onboarded somebody who's been struggling to clear his CA finals, you look at his work quality and it's better than qualified chartered accountants. Not having a tech co-founder and me jumping into this would have been a stupid decision, right? सामने उन्हें लगता है कि ये फाइनेंस के बैकग्राउंड से ना, तो इन्हें कुछ भी टाइमलाइन बता दो, that will work, that you can kind of dupe them. It's sad for that industry also.
How are you doing?
Doing fine, man. What about you?
Just great. Glad to be being the host of this podcast and having you on with us.
Absolutely. I'm not used to being on this side of the table. I'm usually on the other side of the table, but fun to be on this side of the table as well.
So let's start with your journey. Since I belong to a CA background, I had given my CA foundation, CS foundation. CA intermediate एक बार दिया था, वो नहीं हुआ था, तो फिर उसके बाद मैंने pause ले लिया था. So I just then began with my entrepreneurship and found startups and all that thing. So लेकिन मैंने नोटिस करा जो भी मेरा CA फाउंडेशन का बैच था, उसमें से नियरली सिर्फ मैं हूँ जो कि शायद जिनको मैं जानता हूँ जिसमें से मैं स्टार्टअप्स में गया. बाकी जनरली या तो वो दोबारा एग्जाम्स दे रहे हैं या फिर वो दे आर गोइंग विद बिजनेस, लाइक जो फैमिली बिजनेसेस है साथ जा रहे हैं, and they're not that much trying, I would say, like something new, curious type of stuff. So you have been like I would say you have followed the same road. I would say, like, you are a CA, you have gone into Big 5 GT and then into entrepreneurship, building startup and angel investing also. So how's your journey like from the beginning? Like कैसे CA से entrepreneurship shift कैसे, और उससे पहले like CA क्यों चुना सबसे पहला तो ये.
Right. So I keep telling this to my team also. They also had this question. We get a lot of chartered accountants or people who are starting to pursue that as our interns. वो भी पूछ रहे थे भैया ये क्यों कर रहे हो. So I'm an entrepreneur first, a chartered accountant later. I started off my entrepreneurial journey when I was 16 years old and have dreamt of it since I was 8, 9, 10 years old probably. So I'm at heart more of an entrepreneur. Took the professional path. There's also a story behind that. I got very hooked to all of these, investment strategies, Warren Buffett ke bare mein padhna and all of that just after I completed my 12th. So I was also preparing for my CPT then. And CPT में ज़्यादा कुछ उस टाइम पे होता नहीं था, multiple choice questions होते थे, so we did not have that subjective kind of paper that you guys would have appeared for. So we had a lot of time in hand, and I started diving deep into that world. My father was also from that world, had done some stock broking through some years, and had been investing, and he's been investing for the last 35, 40 years now. So with that background, it was always something that lured me in, and I always had टेस्ट फॉर दैट. मुझे अच्छा लगता था वो देखना, स्टॉक प्राइसेस मूव हो रहे हैं स्क्रीन पे, समझना कि ये क्यों हो रहा है, क्या हो रहा है. तो मैंने जैसे ही सर्च किया, गूगल किया कि इंडिया के टॉप इन्वेस्टर्स जो भी हैं, राकेश झुंझुनवाला एंड ऑल ऑफ दीस पीपल, व्हाट इज देयर बैकग्राउंड, राइट, व्हाट हैव दे स्टडीड, व्हाट हैव दे learned over the years, and I realized that all of them were chartered accountants. तो मुझे लगा अच्छा, to become a good investor I should go for this route. And there is no CA in my family. There's सब legacy वाले फैमिली वाले आते हैं, 3 जनरेशन CAs हैं. मेरे फैमिली में दूर दूर तक कोई CA नहीं था उस टाइम पर कोई. एंड फिर भी बट पुशबैक नहीं आया, बिकॉज obviously because you're involved in businesses you will be interacting with a lot of CAs. So my dad had that background, and as a commerce student it's a very easy pick for you. Like CA कर लिया, कॉमर्स कर रहा था, CA तो सब गिवन ही मान लेती है, अच्छा CA साइड में कर ही रहा होगा और क्या कर रहा है बता. तो उतना ज्यादा पुशबैक भी नहीं आया था. And then I went on to Grant Thornton, and there I realized that more than the stock markets, what I loved was understanding different businesses, right? How is cash moving in these businesses? I got good at understanding financial statements, got a good intuitive understanding about cash flows of a company, reading final accounts of a company. And that is always a good tool to have for an investor. But that's not all. You need to be a very good business person to be a very good investor also, right? So I started building my metal in that, in trying to understand कि यार ये धंधा कैसे चलता है, ये वाला धंधा कैसे चलता है, माइक्रो फाइनेंस इंस्टीट्यूशन है तो वो कैसे चलता है. People in my batch would ask for repeat assignments so that it becomes easy for them, वो पढ़ पाए. And I was always that person कि यार नहीं मुझे ये वाला क्लाइंट चाहिए, मुझे ये वाला दूसरा टाइप का क्लाइंट चाहिए. I would fight कि नहीं मुझे सेम क्लाइंट में वापस मत भेजो प्लीज. So that was my journey. I just loved understanding businesses, and वहीं से translate करके I think Readon also happened parallelly college के साथ और Grant Thornton के साथ. I was parallelly doing this in very small groups, not a very big thing. After qualifying, I wanted to build some of my own capital. I did not want to just go out there and start raising funds, or उस time पे raising funds तो चलो तो काफी ही difficult था, but still not borrowing from my parents or my family members, or taking their money to invest or something like that. So I said चल खुद का capital जोड़ते हैं, 2 साल काम करते हैं कहीं पर, and then I started looking for opportunities out there. Thankfully I got a rank, so I got a lot of opportunities and could pick and choose from there. And usme I got this Swiggy ka opportunity to work there. And honestly, it was half the pay of what other companies were offering. And I still went ahead with it because number one, the conversation with the CFO was amazing, absolutely brilliant. And the kind of role that they were offering was brilliant. Plus वो technology वाला side था जो मैंने explore कभी नहीं किया था उतना ज़्यादा. तो मुझे लगा यार वहाँ पे कुछ सीखने मिलेगा, interesting होगा. And I went ahead with that, went with my hunch. Was the bestest decision, I think, of my life, to go there for 2 years, work with the craziest people, brilliant teams, and very, very fast growing environment, very high intensity, high growth environment. And looking at how technology can solve for that, working on some of the biggest problems, biggest challenges, that just built some confidence in me to just take a leap. And I always thought that, we couldn't scale the kind of proposition that we were trying to build out of Readon in terms of the scalability that can reach to $1 billion kind of a company. And but I realized that this is something that I just loved doing, even if it couldn't be a venture scale thing, even if it could be a lifestyle business, which are two very different things. I would want to pursue this and figure out, while building this lifestyle kind of a business, in how we can create something that is venture scale out of that. So yeah, that's the journey that we are on. I think we've found how to venture scale this and move towards creating a lot of impact, move towards helping more people create a lot of value for themselves and for their communities, and create a lot of wealth along the way.
While listening this, like मेरे को ऐसा लगता है I'm on the right path because I also started my journey at the age of 16.
Right.
In my 10th class, when I began with a YouTube channel.
Super.
And got it scaled in nearly 4 to 6 months. We had like 1.7k subscribers along with us, with 150k views along with it.
Nice. But
I had to stop since parents का था कि ये क्या चल रहा है मजाक 10th पे ध्यान दे अपनी. So वो चीज थी, लेकिन kind of a similar, like my brother, he is a CA, like cousin brother. So like after 12th मैं काफी unclear था. I firstly took science, then I shifted to commerce.
अच्छा.
So I was very unclear like what to do next. I had a great interest in animations and all of these things.
Oh.
Curiosity मतलब animation करा है, फिर साथ में और VFX हो गया. तो ये सब चीजों में. Then my brother brought and told me something like that. मतलब जो भी तू ट्राई नया करता रहता है इसको एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप सॉर्ट ऑफ कहते हैं. तो
राइट,
बढ़िया टर्म है यार. तो इसके बारे में जब डेप्थ में गए कुछ चीजें पता लगी कि क्या होता है क्या नहीं होता. देन आई ट्राइड लाइक कपल ऑफ स्टार्टअप्स जस्ट टू लर्न. दे फेल्ड एंड इवन पहले वाले का नाम था मॉडर्न दलाल. जो मैं गाड़ी ड्राइविंग सीख रहा था उस समय. सो आई लाइक मेरे को लगा कि यार अगर किसी को कार सीखनी है, हमें ढूंढने में दिक्कत हुई थी कि कौन हमें सिखाएगा. मेरे को तो किसी को सीखनी है तो कोई ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म होना चाहिए, और ड्राइविंग में जनरली वो दलाल वगैरह का काम होता है. हमको खत्म करेंगे सबको. सो नाम ऐसा तो लोग याद रखें. आई वाज अबाउट टू लॉन्च, माय ब्रदर सेड पुलिस पीछे आ जाएगी दलाल का नाम सुन. राइट. वहां से कुछ चीजें पता लगी, रिपीट कस्टमर्स नहीं आएंगे, उनकी कॉस्ट ज्यादा होगी, वो सब चीजें. और मीनवाइल सीए चल रहा था. आई वाज गिविंग माय फाउंडेशन इन नवंबर. वो चीज कैरी ऑन चल रही थी. सो मतलब वो अलग मतलब, लेकिन इससे पता लगता है हाँ आई थिंक लाइक आई एम ऑन द राइट ट्रैक व्हाइल लिसनिंग टू यू. सो व्हाट वाज योर एक्सपीरियंस लाइक यू गॉट अ रैंक. सो जो आर्टिकलशिप थी वो भी बिग 4 में थी या फिर हाउ वाज इट लाइक?
Yeah, articleship was in Grant Thornton only. Articleship was in Grant Thornton 3 years. Just after qualification, I moved to Swiggy for 2 years, and after that, I started off my own.
That's crazy, क्योंकि अभी भी मेरे कई दोस्तों से मेरी बात होती है. They are like यार Big 4 चाहिए. Even my friend got cleared both of his groups, and मैं उसके घर पे बैठा था, and we were tremendously applying for KPMG, EY, Deloitte, साथ में बैठ के एग्जाम्स दे रहे हैं. अलग सी. That's a great one. तो like you told कि आपने स्विगी चूज करा था क्योंकि आपको अपॉर्चुनिटीज नहीं दिख रही थी वहां पे, आपको नए टेक के बारे में सीखने को मिला. and along with it, like it was half a pay scale. So for there are two questions that are arriving. The both are like different. How you convinced like parents or something, because half a pay scale pay hai, they don't get it, like you are learning something new at a very initial stage. That what I facing, or I am saying. So on the another question is like tech ki knowledge hona in the CA part, because you haven't been into like the finances, you have been in finances, not in tech part, not coding. So how was it like to you? Can a finance guy learn about tech? Because कहीं फाइनेंस के डूड्स इसलिए स्टार्टअप नहीं करते, वो कहते हैं हमको बनाना नहीं आती टेक्नोलॉजी, तो हम स्टार्टअप करेंगे ही नहीं, या फिर हमें को फाउंडर नहीं मिला तो हम नहीं कर पाए. सो हाउ इज योर लाइक?
No, yeah, and that inhibition also, credit to that inhibition of people also to not start off unless they find a good co-founder to start off with. Because honestly, यार ये journey अकेले लेने में it can get very very lonely, very very harassing भी हो जाता है बहुत बार. खुद पे भी बहुत प्रेशर ले लेते हो आप अगर कोई आपके साथ डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करने को नहीं है. So on that in that way, I think they're on the right track if they're not taking the leap. If it is a core tech product, right? Had my product been a core tech product, AI ML related कुछ मैं अगर कर रहा होता, not having a tech co-founder and me jumping into this would have been a stupid decision, right? I knew that I did not need a very heavy tech arm to start, at least, right? That I could leverage social media, that I could leverage other channels and start doing what I want to do, and then see and figure out whether more people would join in on this mission and whether more people we can recruit. पैसा बनने लगता है तो फिर यार पैसे आते हैं तो आप recruit कर सकते हो अच्छे coders, right? So that is also a good path to take. You don't always need a co-founder who can build your software for free if you can create value somewhere else. तो on that side यार credit to them also and credit to this thought process also कि यार जरूरत नहीं है, आप जा सकते हो, आप start कर सकते हो. Start करना important है. उसके बाद नहीं चला तो 3 महीने बाद बंद करना भी important है. अगर उसको ईगो पे लेके रख लोगे तो then you're wasting your time and everybody else's time. So that is on that side. Answering your first question in terms of पे के लिए कैसे मनाया, मैंने नहीं मनाया to be honest. मैंने साइन कर दिया, कैंपस में आई थी स्विगी, सुबह मेरा इंटरव्यू हुआ, सुबह पहले within 10 minutes that they gave me the offer letter also. I signed the offer letter then and there and I said I am done and dusted for the day. I'll just enjoy that campus placement का 5-star होटल का जो खाना होता है मैं उसको अच्छे से खाऊंगा पीऊंगा. मेरे साथ एक और बंदा था विनायक करके, सिमिलर स्टोरी. हम दोनों बैठे थे, चिल कर रहे थे, खा रहे थे, लोगों को एंजाइटी दे रहे थे कि तुम लोग जाओ दूसरी भी इंटरव्यूज में और बैठो, हमारा तो हो गया सॉर्ट. तो we were having fun there, and how I communicated that to my parents was also fun. I just told my sister, my eldest sister, that I have signed this now. Now I cannot take this back. You tell dad, you tell mom कि इसने ऐसा किया है और ये अब घर आ रहा है कल. ठीक है, कल की टिकट है इसकी, अब कल घर आ रहा है, कल घर पे बात कर लेगा आप लोगों से. मुझे पता था क्योंकि if I talk to my dad, हमारी फिर 6 महीने बात ही नहीं होगी अगर मैं उनको बताऊंगा ये चीज तो. But I told them and the pay was good. It was not that it was below average. It was much better than average. It was just half of what I was getting otherwise, right? तो उनका वो मेंटल बुक वहां पर था, मेरा मेंटल बुक अभी भी 7-8 लाख पे था जो जीटी मुझे देता 9 लाख पे, कि भाई उससे ऊपर मिल जाए कुछ भी, उतना भी मिल जाए तो आई एम हैप्पी इफ माय लर्निंग इज सॉर्टेड. अगर मैं उससे जाके कुछ सीखूंगा तो मैं सॉर्टेड हूँ, मुझे ज्यादा जरूरत नहीं है. एंड दूसरी सिटी में शिफ्ट हो रहे तो भाई 7 इधर मिल रहा है तो 9 उधर मिल जाए तो काफी है मेरे लिए. So that was the thought process, and the first reaction of my dad was, यार क्या स्विगी में डिलीवरी करेगा? And I was like, obviously not. Delivery करने थोड़ी सीए को रखेंगे. But yeah, it took time for him to understand how a loss-making company can hire people also, and hire people at the pay scale that they are hiring. वो बोले 6 महीने में तेरे को निकाल देंगे यार, तू क्या कर रहा है? And I was like, नहीं यार, they've raised $1 billion and this is how it works and this is how the startup space works. Shark Tank वगैरह नहीं हुआ था उस टाइम पे यार, तो समझाना और difficult होता था लोगों को. And Calcutta में you don't have so many startups that are coming up, right? It's still a very traditional city. So it gets much more difficult for them to understand what's going around. तो वो तो difficult था काफी. And yeah, नहीं ही बताया मैंने. My approach may not be the best approach. You should discuss with your parents. They understand you much better than you understand yourself. But yeah, it was a good bet. I have been a risk taker, to be honest. I've always been a risk taker. And it was a risky proposition, but I thought that it would be interesting. And one more thing that went for Swiggy now, in that campus also, they were not differentiating between a second attempt, a third attempt, and a Rankholder. That was something that I found very good. कि यार, you're testing somebody on the basis of their merit, on the basis of what they can add value to, right? And कितना वो लोग deliver कर पाएंगे आपके हिसाब से, आप उनको opportunity दे रहे हो. So at my same pay scale, there was another guy who was a third attempt, right? And they did not say कि तुम lower pay लो, हम ranker को इतना pay कर रहे हैं, etc. etc. Nothing. Everybody was on the same flat level. So that was also very good on their part. What was the second question? I forgot.
Second question was like tech के बारे में क्या सीखा स्विगी से?
Correct. See, tech में ना there are different parts to it, right? So there is product and then there is technology, right? Technology में there is architecture of that, you know, the business use case of that technology, and then the hard coding stuff, right? कि आप बस बैठ के उसको code out कर रहे हो software को. Coding out that software as well as skill will take a lot of time for you to learn. I'm not saying that you can't learn, but it will take a lot of time for you to learn that skill. What you can actually learn is how different systems talk together to each other. What are APIs, right? How can you leverage these different APIs to create a business use case, right? कि कुछ unique भी create हो सकता है उसके. Product management is more about consumer psychology. कि how would a user perceive your application or your website, right? What should be the user interface? What should be the user experience? How you should design it in a way that optimizes on the best kind of optimal experience for your users while driving business objectives also. ऐसा नहीं है कि सुंदर ही दिख रहा है बस, लेकिन बिजनेस नहीं आ रहा है उसको. बहुत सुंदर एक वीडियो वगैरह बना दिया, बड़ों को क्लिक करके उससे बाय नहीं कर रहा है कुछ भी, right? So you can't have extremes of anything. So I think CAs and people from the financial background, if not CAs, have a very intuitive understanding of dhanda, right? So when they are serving customers like MSMEs, customers like startups, right? वो कस्टमर टू कस्टमर वाला जो रिलेशन होता है, B2B वाला मॉडल जो होता है, B2B2C वाला मॉडल होता है, मुझे लगता है वहां बहुत सही कर सकते हैं चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स, बिकॉज दे अंडरस्टैंड बिजनेसेस एंड दे अंडरस्टैंड द साइकोलॉजी ऑफ द बिजनेस पर्सन. Maybe they do not understand the psychology of the consumer, which a marketing professional will be in a much better position to understand. But धंधे की लैंग्वेज आती है, अकाउंटेंसी इज द धंधा का लैंग्वेज, राइट? उन्हें वो आता है कोर, तो वो धंधे वाले बंदे से बात कर सकते हैं ग्राउंड लेवल पे, राइट? एंड दे कैन इमीडिएटली क्रिएट इम्पैक्ट देयर आल्सो फॉर फ्री. थोड़ा सा इनपुट दिया एंड उनका कुछ भला हो सकता है एंटरप्रेन्योर का ग्राउंड लेवल पे. तो आई फाइंड दैट उनका फिट वहां पे ज्यादा अच्छा बैठता है, चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स का या फाइनेंस प्रोफेशनल्स का. एंड इवन इफ यू लुक एट द होल स्पेस राइट नाउ, the better fintech players that have come out from finance background people have been in the SaaS play, right? There've been softwares that have come out, there've been payment gateways that have come out, there've been very different propositions that have come out on the B2B wala side. Not a lot of B2C stuff have come out. Like Aman from Boat is an exception, right? But then that also tells you that if you invest a lot of time in understanding consumer psychology, in understanding how marketing works, in understand how neuromarketing works, how these different social media channels work, you can do B2C also, right? So as long as you can learn, and that is something that CAs are good at learning new things. क्योंकि GST चेंज होता है, इनकम टैक्स चेंज होता है, कंपनी लॉ चेंज होता है, तो उनके अंदर इनबिल्ट है कि हम नई चीजें सीख जाएंगे, राइट? उन्हें वो फियर ऑफ लर्निंग न्यू थिंग्स नहीं है, मे बी लर्निंग न्यू सब्जेक्ट्स है थोड़ा सा. तो इफ दे कैन कीप दैट थोड़ा सा फियर असाइड ऑफ लर्निंग अ न्यू सब्जेक्ट and just dive deep into that, I think they'll be very good marketers also. They'll be very good advisors. Obviously, they are, but very good at creating these B2C opportunities also. So, हमारे यहाँ पे यवंतिका है. She is a chartered accountant, but she's done her graduation का specialization in neuromarketing. Right? She loved marketing. So she's a prime example of a chartered accountant who can think like a consumer and who can create awesome marketing campaigns. She's created the best of the best campaigns. And organically इतना बड़ा बेस बनाना हमारे लिए भी wouldn't have been possible had she not been that marketing brain behind it, right? I'm a pure numbers finance guy. I understand a bit of marketing, but मुझे लिखना ज्यादा अच्छा लगता है, तो उससे आ जाते हैं अट्रैक्ट होके लोग. But she can actually strategize and create campaigns, right? So that is a skill that you can develop. There are more than enough examples of you creating that, and that opens up a lot of ancillary sources of revenue for a passive income sources for a चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट की. पढ़ते पढ़ते भी साइड में कंटेंट राइटिंग कर लिया, थोड़ा सा डिजिटल मार्केटिंग कर लिया, तो वो इनकम आती रहती है, तो अच्छा रहता है, कॉन्फिडेंस बिल्ड होता है.
That's true. Even like GST चेंज हो गया, कंपनी लॉ चेंज हो गया, ऐसा ये इतना फ्रीक्वेंट होता है कि CAs को यूजुअली व्हाट आई हैव एक्सपीरियंस, लाइक क्योंकि मैंने जो बीच में पॉज लिया था उसकी वजह से, अगर वो मेरे को इतना नहीं पढ़ना पड़ता था तो इट वाज अ स्पेस फॉर मी. यार कुछ तो करूंगा इतने टाइम में, खाली थोड़ा. अभी भी ऐसा होता है कि अगर मैं आई एम आइडल फॉर hour or so, I am like कि क्यों, कहाँ है काम, कहाँ है? And even my co-founder says it for this कि तेरे को हर समय कुछ ना कुछ चाहिए. तो वो चीज भी है. And as you rightly also said 2 points, like I can highly relate to those कि अगर co-founders tech का है तो you can go much more faster, like, and if you can start with it. और अगर खुद से सीखोगे तो टाइम लगेगा, क्योंकि जब मैंने स्टार्ट करा था I didn't get any tech co-founder, I was building a SaaS product. तो वहां पे मैंने पहले वाला इस वजह से कुछ नहीं चल पाया, दूसरे वाला करा उसमें भी सेम दिक्कत. तो आई वॉज सो मच फेड अप, और आई एम बिट सॉर्ट ऑफ एग्रेसिव फाउंडर. सो मैंने खुद से सीखना स्टार्ट कर दिया. आई बिकेम अ फुल स्टैक डेवलपर. आई लर्नड अबाउट फ्लटर. नाउ आई कैन डू द बेसिक फ्लटर एप्स. सो आई जस्ट स्टार्टेड डीप डाइव दैट, क्योंकि व्हाट आई फाउंडेड लाइक कि when I started it, yeah, it took time to learn all of these skills, but what I found it कि अगर मैंने खुद से start करा तो now we have like co-founders from development and the BTech background also, क्योंकि वो फिर साथ में attract हो गए, उन्हें दिख गया कि कुछ बन रहा है, इनको कुछ आता है.
Exactly, that is very important to showcase to techies also that hey, I am here and I want to solve for this. If you're not going to come on board, मैं कर लूंगा. वो बताना बहुत important होता है for anybody who's going to join you, right? That I am here to stay, man. You join me and we will create wealth together. But even if you don't join me, I will find a way to solve this problem for myself. That is true entrepreneurship spirit, यार. Kudos.
And like now I can, you know, अगर कई बार what previously एक चीज और देखी कि टेक जब हम आउटसोर्स करते थे, पहले हमने किसी से बनवाया था, तो ही वाज लाइक कि अभी थोड़ा टाइम बचा है, 1 हफ्ता लगेगा, 2 हफ्ते. अब वो कहते हैं, मैंने कहा कहाँ 2 हफ्ते लगेंगे, कोड दिखाओ मेरे को जरा. तो आई टेल देम लाइक कि कहाँ 2 हफ्ते का तो काम ही नहीं है ये, इधर से जाओ उधर जाओ, तेरे को मिल जाएगा स्टैक ओवरफ्लो में सब कुछ. सो दे आर लाइक कि ठीक है, अभी से पता है तो जल्दी काम हो जाता है. तो दैट्स आल्सो द थिंग दैट आई फाउंड इट.
करेक्ट. एंड ये हमारे साथ भी एक्सपीरियंस हुआ था यार इनिशियली, वर्किंग ऑन अ डिफरेंट प्रोजेक्ट व्हेन वी वर वर्किंग ऑन समथिंग एल्स. हमने भी ये देखा यार कि सामने उन्हें लगता है कि ये फाइनेंस के बैकग्राउंड से ना, तो इन्हें कुछ भी टाइमलाइन बता दो, दैट विल वर्क, that you can kind of dupe them. It's sad for that industry also. I don't know why they have this mentality कि यार चलते रहने दो इनका project. They have all the reason to deliver fast and take more money from me to create more stuff for me. But I don't know why they do that. But हाँ, I also faced that, and then we also used to sit and then go deep into the code and see कि यार ये बोलते थे आपने आर्किटेक्चर ये कचरा बनाया, इसके लिए आपने इतना टाइम क्यों लिया. तो वो समझ में आता था उनको कि अच्छा ये समझता है थोड़ी बहुत. तो yeah, it's always better to know थोड़ा at least of that, even if you don't know hardcore coding. Sit with somebody who's coding and just ask him यार क्या चल रहा है. That's enough.
Exactly.
And वो ऑडिट करते करते आदत हो जाती है उंगली करने की, तो क्वेश्चन निकल के आते हैं अपने आप. मैं आर्टिकल्स को देखता हूँ, बोलता हूँ यार क्वेश्चंस पूछो बेबाक. This is the time that you have that beautiful tag behind your name, trainee. Nobody will judge you for being stupid. Ask whatever damn question that you want to ask. I still keep asking random stupid questions to people, right? That's how you will learn, otherwise you will never learn.
Exactly. That's true. मेरे को याद आया कि ऑडिट से तो ये आदत हो ही जाएगी उंगली करने.
Correct.
We will continue like the CA journey and your like the angel investing journey now. But before that, जो अभी ऑडियंस, जो CA वाली ऑडियंस देख रही थी, क्योंकि they may not be interested in the entrepreneurial part, but they may be inspired from you. So अगर उनको CA से entrepreneurship में shift करना है, and anyone is stuck in intermediate or maybe in foundation, or even if they have qualified CA, so how they can move into the entrepreneurship, like, because क्योंकि stuck हो जाते हैं लोग.
Thanks for asking that, yeah. And this has been a problem that has been sitting on the back of our minds also for quite some time. And we've seen this firsthand. We've onboarded somebody who's been struggling to clear his CA finals. You look at his work quality and it's better than qualified chartered accountants, right? Some of them at least, right? So we realized that यार firepower तो बहुत है. हम ट्रेनिंग बहुत अच्छी दे रहे हैं, ये जितने भी छोटे फर्म में भी जा रहे हैं, मीडियम फर्म में भी जा रहे हैं, अगर डेडिकेटेड बच्चे तो इनमें फायर तो है, ये काम तो कर लेंगे. इनकी ब्रांडिंग सही नहीं हो पा रही, राइट? तो एंड इनमें से कुछ को एंटरप्रेन्योरियल लीप में भी लेना होगा, बट दे डोंट नो द पाथ, एज यू राइटली asked that question about, right? How to move from this to that, right? So we are creating something for them, right? They can come to us, our platform, whatever we will call it. We're right now calling it internally the Neve project, right? And in that program, people can join in, especially CA students and CA intermediate people and CA final का जिन्होंने 2-3 attempt दे दिया है, they can join us and we will train them over a period of 6 months in everything that they need to learn about entrepreneurship, be it from registration of a startup to how to find out that idea that you want to work on, what you are actually passionate about, which can take a 2 to 3 month in a journey. वो खुद में एक journey हो जाती है, right? What you are passionate about, and वो idea मिल गया तो now how do you deep dive into that? How do you create your pitch? How do you story tell? How do you pitch to an audience? How do you attract people to your idea? How do you validate your idea in the first place by talking to users? Because we have that user base here. We have been loaning it out to bigger players. Why not loan it out to our community members, fraternity members, and help them create something new out of it, right? उसके बाद हम लोग और भी बहुत सारी चीजें कर रहे हैं और उनके लिए फंडिंग भी सॉल्व कर रहे हैं. So we help them raise capital also. We help them get mentors. If they are into deep tech or something where they have an idea which is very interesting, but they want to dive deeper into it, understand the technological feasibility of it. We have techies on board from the best of the best institutions, IITs, IIMs, who have created their own startups also, failed multiple times, gone back to doing a job, then created something and scaled it very nicely, right? We've been a part of that journey also. We are getting them on board as well. Marketing professionals को लेके आ रहे हैं जिन्होंने जो कॉमर्स बैकग्राउंड से आके मार्केटिंग साइड पे चले गए, राइट? हमारे पास इन हाउस ही है यवंतिका वगैरह जो ये सारी चीजों पे हेल्प कर सकती है, एंड आई एम देयर. सो वी आर क्रिएटिंग दिस होल कोहॉर्ट ऑफ पीपल and we want to have not more than 50 to 60 people in one cohort over a period of 6 months, and then see how this runs. Once we do a 1 6 month sprint, uske baad we will structure this formally. But if somebody wants to join it as an experiment, more than happy to have you guys here. And इसमें हम लोग एक और चीज कर रहे हैं यार, ये जो मैंने कॉन्फिडेंस वाली बात बोली ना कि आप छोटे छोटे फ्रीलांसिंग प्रोजेक्ट्स लेके कॉन्फिडेंस बिल्ड कर सकते हो. राइट नाउ there are a lot of companies that are getting a lot of due diligence projects, lot of such projects where they do not need the signature of a chartered accountant, but they need people who can think like an auditor, like a tax person, like a tax expert, who can wear those multiple hats within the finance domain, who have understanding of legalities, taxation laws and all of that, right? Corporate law, taxation law समझते हैं. And content writing space में भी काफी opportunities हैं finance content writers के लिए. So we want to bifurcate this segment, this group of people that we get into sub cohorts where we find people who can write well, right? हम उनको connect करें आगे जिन्हें finance content writing की जरूरत है उनसे, and इनके लिए passive income source create कर दें. क्योंकि अगर आपके पास आपने क्लियर नहीं किया है तो सबसे दिमाग में बड़ा चैलेंज ये चल रहा होता है यार फ्यूचर में करेंगे क्या, सैलरी कहाँ से आएगी, एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप चल ट्राई कर लेते हैं 1-2 साल, बट बेस सॉर्टेड नहीं है. एंड जब तक बेस सॉर्टेड नहीं होता ना, कॉन्फिडेंटली आप कुछ परसू नहीं कर पाते हो. आपका दिमाग भटकता है हर 3 महीने में, यार ये ट्राई कर लेता हूँ, ये ट्राई कर लेता हूँ, ये ट्राई कर लेता हूँ. तो वो बेस सॉर्ट करना इंपॉर्टेंट है. एंड इफ वी कैन क्रिएट एनी इम्पैक्ट इन क्रिएटिंग दैट, हेल्पिंग देम क्रिएट दैट बेस by getting them due diligence projects, getting them these finance content writing projects, these small things that we can do for them to sustain their experiments, right? And then also teach them about market psychology, market में क्या चल रहा है, fintech में क्या चल रहा है. हम किसी कंपनीज में इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं खुद अगर एज एंजल इन्वेस्टर्स, तो हम खुद क्यों इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं उन कंपनीज में, हम एज इन्वेस्टर्स क्या देख रहे हैं मार्केट को, हम क्या समझ रहे हैं मार्केट को, नेक्स्ट 10 साल में हमें क्या लगता है प्रोडक्ट्स आने वाली है मार्केट में, तुम्हें क्या बिल्ड करना चाहिए उसके हिसाब से आज. तो all of these ज्ञान जो हमें अभी 3-4 साल में पैक हुआ है, we want to make this available for these people, and it is absolutely 100% for free, nothing doing. We will not charge a penny from these 50-60 folks that we select. The intent has to be right, the passion has to be there to create at least something, and that drive has to be there कि यार मुझे फोड़ना है लाइफ में कुछ, राइट? अगर वो स्पार्क हमें नहीं दिखता तो वो फिर हम निकाल मतलब वो रिजेक्ट हो जाएंगे उस कोहॉर्ट से. आगे के कोहॉर्ट्स में आ सकते हैं जब हम पेड कोहॉर्ट्स वगैरह चालू करेंगे, बट इस कोहॉर्ट में तो वी वांट जस्ट दोस 50-60 पैशनेट पीपल सो दैट हम भी बोर ना हो और वो भी बोर ना.
This is a great initiative, I would say.
Thanks.
बहुत सारे ऐसे जने हैं जिनको मैं जानता हूँ जो कि इस कम्युनिटी से बिलोंग करते हैं. इवन वन ऑफ द गाय रीच्ड आउट टू मी कहते हुए कि उसे इन्वेस्टमेंट्स और फाइनेंस इन्वेस्टमेंट साइज पे VC टाइप में वो करना है, एक्सपोजर चाहिए एंड ही वांट टू कनेक्टेड. He cleared his CA intermediate, but I think so अभी तक उसे कुछ ऐसा कुछ मिला नहीं है रिजेक्ट. Even I referred him for few VC firms, but still So there are a lot more like such students who want to get into startup. That's a great initiative. And also
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
कि shaadi.com पे भी startup founder search कर रहा है आजकल सबसे ज्यादा.
Right.
If you are thinking why to choose entrepreneurship.
यार ये साल भर में जितना कूल हो गया ना एंटरप्रेन्योर बनना, ये पिछले 10 साल में भी कभी कूल नहीं था. एक वो कूल वाला फेज आया था जब फ्लिपकार्ट इतना बड़ा फंड रेज किया था एंड बिकेम वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट नेम्स आउट देयर. वो अपना कैश ऑन डिलीवरी वगैरह चालू करके मचाया था. उसके बाद अब ये शार्क टैंक ने जो किया है लास्ट 1 ईयर से जो हम सुन रहे हैं, amazing यार. It's become a beautiful space and we finally feel that yes यार, people are respecting us. It's not like कि जिनको जॉब नहीं मिलता है वो जाके entrepreneurship pursue करते हैं. It is people who want to create something, right? And who want to take a risk, who want to take a challenge and want to create something interesting for the community. And लोग ये misunderstand कर लेते हैं यार कि हमें किसी बॉस के अंडर काम नहीं करना या we want independence and all that. There is nobody more not non-independent than an entrepreneur. There is nobody who's working for everybody than an entrepreneur. वो फ्री में अपने एम्प्लॉय के लिए काम कर रहा है, अपने इन्वेस्टर के लिए काम कर रहा है, कम्युनिटी के लिए काम कर रहा है, कस्टमर के लिए सबसे पहले काम कर रहा है. और वो पीनट्स भी नहीं कमा रहा है. अभी तो शायद वो लॉस में ही चल रहा होगा. आई डोंट इवन टेक अ सैलरी आउट ऑफ द कंपनी राइट येट. अब आगे जाके वी विल फिगर आउट अ वेरी स्मॉल 5-digit सैलरी विच विल बी लेस देन 50,000. बट अभी तक there is nothing getting created for that entrepreneur, right? Other than that ड्रीम, दैट विजन कि यार कुछ बड़ा क्रिएट होगा इससे एंड शायद 10 साल बाद कुछ बन के निकलेगा. सो दैट 10 years का सैक्रिफाइस, एंड आई लव दैट दैट्स बीइंग ग्लोरिफाइड नाउ फाइनली. एंटरप्रेन्योर्स नीड टू बिकम heroes in the country. We need more of those. They have to become celebrities, so to say, in the country to drive the kind of. और हमारे कंट्री में एनर्जी है बहुत यार. एंटरप्रेन्योरियल एनर्जी आप देखोगे ना तो स्पेशली पॉकेट्स में, कुछ पॉकेट्स में, कुछ स्टेट्स में there is so much of entrepreneurial energy that मुझे लगता है क्या वेस्ट है. वो क्यों जा रहा है जॉब कर रहा है, कुछ ट्राई कर लेना. उसे सिर्फ 6 months का सपोर्ट चाहिए. कोई उसे 50,000 का स्टाइपेंड दे दे 6 महीने के लिए, वो कुछ तोड़ के निकाल के जाएगा. तो I am sorry, I get very passionate about this, but yeah, I think a lot of entrepreneurial energy will get unlocked Shark Tank की वजह से, and we will make sure that not just Shark Tank, there is a whole ecosystem for anybody and everybody to get into this, especially क्योंकि I am from that CA community, especially for CA students and CA professionals who are struggling or who have not qualified, and to just tell them that hey, nothing doing, you still can be confident, you are still a contributing citizen of the country and you can create something good. ये result से आपका life determine नहीं होता.
Exactly. Even when I began my journey, I met a student who was in, I guess, in 11th class, and वो इतना passionate था entrepreneurship को लेके. There was a finance situation in his family, so he was not very well with that. So he traveled like around 10 kilometers by walk in order to go to his friend's home who has laptop, so that he can work over there. And then he also managed to meet like CM of Delhi, Arvind Kejriwal.
Oh, wow.
By walking to he usually meet people outside the Bhavan. So he reached out to there, he met him, he proposed his idea also. So he got appraisal from there also.
Nice.
So the spirit that the people have is actually true. Like you said, like they just need a bit of push, like the 6-month time period or the 3-month time period that that he was struggling with. He just needed that push. That is truly, I would say, like I've seen so much times I have interacted with founders, like they are stuck with just in the edge of the things. They just need a slight push. That's true.
Correct. And founder to founder, right? छोटा सा भी कोई प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर देता है ना, जैसे मेरा कोई फाउंडर और प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर दिया, बिल्कुल छोटा सा है, कोई चीज फास्ट करा दी, बैंक अकाउंट ही फास्ट खुलवा दिया, वी फील लाइक आराम. एक वो सेंस ऑफ आराम जो आता है ना, एंड आप जब हेल्प करते हो किसी और एंटरप्रेन्योर को भी, उसके चेहरे पे वो सेंस ऑफ आराम देख के जो आपको सेटिस्फैक्शन आती है, unparalleled, absolutely unparalleled. It's like यार I could contribute something valuable to that person, and that person also could contribute something valuable to me. That relationship is beautiful. You make friends so quickly in this space, as long as you're a good person, plus you're not doing it just to get sales or something like that, आप salesy type करें, as long as that's there, it's a beautiful thing यार. मतलब मजेदार स्पेस है. और एंटरप्रेन्योर्स यार कनेक्ट ऑन ये जीएसटी को गाली देने पे कनेक्ट कर जाते हैं एंटरप्रेन्योर्स. मैं मजाक पे नहीं कर रहा, मतलब जीएसटी को गाली दो, टैक्सेशन पॉलिसी को गाली दे दो, क्योंकि है ही भाई यार, अभी हम लोग फर्स्ट हैंड फेस करते हैं.
ट्विटर पे ट्रेंड कर रहा होगा अभी।
राइट।
सही है, हर समय ट्विटर पे वही चलता रहता है, इनकम टैक्स का पोर्टल नहीं चल रहा, जीएसटी का पोर्टल नहीं चल रहा।
डोंट इवन आस्क अबाउट इट यार, थैंकफुली अवंतिका टेक्स केयर ऑफ दैट डिपार्टमेंट एंड मेरे तक नहीं आता है, बट उसको देख के हमारा दिमाग खराब हो जाता है यार। वो प्रोडक्टिव काम करे ना, वो क्या ये बकवास में फंस जाती है। महीने के हम 1-1.5 दिन ही फंसते हैं इसमें, बट फिर भी दिमाग खराब हो जाता है।
That's true. That's true. Now let's go ahead of your journey. Now you had been angel investing. You launched Readon. So let's firstly like introduce Readon to the community that is watching this podcast and see like what you are building, how you started it.
Right. So yeah, Readon started off with a simple premise that people want to understand deep things, but they don't want to spend a lot of time finding out, right? कि वो सही चीज क्या है जो उन्हें पढ़नी है। उन्हें 6 सोर्सेस से अगर वो पढ़ेंगे तो उन्हें वो रेलेवेंट मटेरियल मिल जाएगा जो हम कवर करते हैं, बट उनके पास टाइम नहीं है। ऑब्वियसली दे आर ईदर स्टूडेंट्स और प्रोफेशनल्स हु आर डूइंग समथिंग एल्स आल्सो, सो दे नीड समबडी टू declutter that space for them, right? De-jargonify the space for them is a second thing that we work on. Declutter तो कर दिया कि जो बेस्ट चीज है उसको उठाया, 7, 8, 10, 15 जितने सोर्सेज हैं प्लस हमारा एक्सपीरियंस उसमें इंक्लूड किया, उससे एक कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव पीस बनाई जिससे कि users can easily get access to that information and just read that and be done. उन्हें एक comprehensive knowledge आ जाएगा उसके बाद, and they can stand at any chai adda or sit at any dinner table and have a conversation about that topic. That's our end objective कि ये इंसान जाके इस बारे में बात कर पाए। ऐसा नहीं बोले कि सिर्फ मैंने हेडिंग पढ़ी है तो मुझे पता है क्या चल रहा है, but he can contribute to a conversation also. So we started off with this hypothesis. And then when we started interacting, so our initial users came from engineering colleges and all also, right? So when we started interacting with them, we realized that उनको de-jargonify भी करना उनके लिए important है, that they want it in a simple to understand language. And when I was writing, I would write very long, 15 minutes long write up, right? It take you 15 minutes to read, very detailed, very in depth, but 15 मिनट लगता है। वो एक niche audience तो पढ़ लेगा, but वो एक wide audience नहीं पढ़ता। So that's where Yavantika came into the picture, and she created that 700, 800,000 words में very interesting write-ups, very nice way of storytelling. And we were the first to pioneer that slider format on Instagram and LinkedIn, right? Nobody was doing that at that point in time of creating those sliders. And if you look at our initial sliders, August 2020 where we started, उसके 2-3 महीने बाद other brands started doing that. So we created that space for ourselves where we said we would be aesthetically beautiful. I mean, we would be good looking also. We would package it very well. We'll make it ऐसा कि यार पढ़ने मजबूर हो जाए सामने वाला, राइट? ऐसा नहीं कि जैसे हैबिट क्रिएट करनी पड़ती है, राइट? इकोनॉमिक टाइम्स पढ़ने की, बिजनेस टाइम्स पढ़ने की, इसके लिए ऑटोमेटिक अंदर से है कि हाँ ये पढ़ते यार, ये इंटरेस्टिंग होगा, ये अच्छा दिखेगा, राइट? उन्हें चाहिए कि ये दिखे अच्छा, ये इजी भाषा में हो, नंबर्स हमारे पास हो बहुत सारे एंड ऑल दैट. So we started focusing on that, and there were other brands also who were doing it, like FinShots, A Junior VC. They were also doing it. So we dived deeper into them and figured out how they were doing what they were doing, and we realized that FinShots especially was leaving a lot of meat on the table. Right? They were not partnering with brands who wanted to reach out to this user base, this financially educated user base, and leaving a lot of money on the table from that perspective. Right? So we thought, yeah, this could be a good way of monetizing also, without creating a financial product on top. Like FinShots went ahead and created a financial product. He said, "अपन media route पे रहेंगे because I am more of an educator. I love finance, I love transactions, I do that, I understand investing, but I'm an educator at heart." So we wanted to keep educating the user base, and that's when we started partnering with brands and bringing in their proposition to our audience base for a fee. Now we don't call this ad because एक ad क्या होता है? आप typically एक product बेच रहे होते हो, आप उसकी promotion कर रहे होते हो, right? We don't do promotions, we do educational stuff around pros and cons both of that brand, right? It's very difficult to sell that to a brand कि यार मैं तुम्हारे बारे में cons भी बताने वाला हूँ users को, और कुछ users drop off भी करेंगे उसकी वजह से. But now brands have started understanding after we've reached this scale that actually works for them also, because the users that they will attract by doing a false advertisement might transact once. They will never be a repeat user. Their cost of acquiring that user will be very high, right? They will not get enough lifetime value out of that user, right? By following our approach, by telling the pros, cons, by educating the user, they'll get the right set of users who will actually do repeat transactions on that platform, right? And that is something that we've proven through numbers now across different promotions that we've done. right? So we are solving that particular set of problem for brands through Readon, where we charge them to publish about them on our platform. Sometimes we do it for free also, and we charge very minimal fee for doing that. And on the user side, we've made sure that they only get stuff that's highly vetted, highly researched, right? So we said no to Vault, for example. We did not do it. उनका मुझे नहीं समझ में आया मॉडल. मैं शायद पीटर थील जितना इंटेलिजेंट स्मार्ट नहीं हूँ. Obviously, right? Maybe it is a good platform still, but मुझे नहीं लगा, right? And there are tens of people that they can go out to and reach the same user base with. So it was not like if I don't do it, their company will die or something like that, right? So we said no to it. They told us that X influencer is doing it, Y influencer is doing it. Who are you to say no? आप अभी कौन हो ये वो. अगर ठीक है यार नहीं है ना तो फिर छोड़ते हैं इसको, नहीं करना है. Because I couldn't sell it. मैं खुद ही नहीं डाल रहा था पैसे उसमें, तो मैं कैसे बेच दूं उस चीज को. So that inhibition was there. Thankfully or not thankfully, I don't know what term should be used, but that turned out very good for us. And now we're just driving that point to the brands that we are working with, that see, हम बहुत questions पूछेंगे आपको, हम बहुत deep जाएंगे, हम आपके operations खोल के देखेंगे कि आप क्या कर रहे हो, exactly कैसे कर रहे हो. हम कुछ गलत नहीं promote करेंगे, but at the end of the day, you will get the right kind of users, the right set of users, and those users will love you as much as they love us, right? That's more important for a brand, that you get highly involved users, in users that are in love with you, right? Not just users that like you off the hand and don't remember you. तो ये proposition है अभी Readon पे. और भी हम बहुत कुछ कर रहे हैं. We've started investing in brands. We're operationally profitable now. So we have started investing in fintech brands. We've started collaborating deeply with some fintech brands to help them reach to a wider audience and make sure that they are also on the right path to create the kind of products that need to exist in the market. So that is also something that we have started doing now.
Meanwhile, वैसे तो ऑडियंस को पता होगा रीडॉन के बारे में, लेकिन अगर नहीं पता तो मैं एक बार बता दूं, 1.8 मिलियन इंप्रेशंस है. Am I right? Like it's
monthly.
हाँ मंथली, और बहुत बहुत बड़ा नंबर होता है 1.8 मिलियन इंप्रेशन. ठीक है. मेरे को पता है उसमें क्या हालत हो जाती है 1.8 मिलियन इंप्रेशन में. So yeah, it's a huge number. I would suggest to go out and check out.
Yeah, check out our LinkedIn यार. LinkedIn पे हम अच्छा कंटेंट बना रहे हैं. YouTube पे भी we've started working. And if you can, it will be very good if you can put the link also of our YouTube channel.
It will be okay.
We've just started working on it, and we have reached 3,000 subscribers without doing any paid stuff. And we get 100-200 views अभी तो, but अब हमें समझ में आ गया कि वो repeat पे same set of cohort of users देख रहे हैं. तो हम उनसे बात करना चालू कर रहे हैं कि उन्हें और क्या चाहिए, उनके लिए और क्या इंटरेस्टिंग बनाया जा सकता है. So we want to invest more on YouTube also. It's a good channel, yeah. And I'll take some notes from you. You've scaled YouTube platform, you've worked on it, तो मैं आपसे भी notes लूंगा.
वैसे मैं इतना नहीं scale करा, लेकिन ठीक है. So now let's, like, you have angel invested in companies. So when we talk about angel investors, like, people have a mindset like valuations and all of these things. Founders के दिमाग में तुरंत आती है सबसे पहली चीज जो शार्क टैंक को देख के भाई है, कितने परसेंट पे कितना इक्विटी. ठीक है. तो वो सारी चीजें. So how is it like as being an angel investors, like कैसा differentiated है like founder और angel investor होना, and how do you feel about it? Like what's the investment thesis is all about? Like how is it?
Right. I'll talk about the industry briefly, and then maybe I'll dive deeper into what we do also. Okay. So usually what happens now, angel investors typical अगर आप background देखोगे, so they were never from the startup space itself, right? They were typically from some other spaces who would migrate, and I'm talking about these HNIs and ultra HNIs and family offices, not VCs, right? Not VCs or micro VCs also. I'm just talking about angel investors, individuals. उनका mindset थोड़ा different था, and tech proposition समझना ही in itself is a very different ball game altogether, right? And sometimes I have found, and this is something that in the founder circle you'll keep hearing, that some investors think that they are know it all, right? That उनको exactly पता यही होगा, कुछ भी कर लो यही होगा. So that hubris comes in. Now, as a founder investor, I realized that I could empathize with the founder at a founder to founder level also, which I found missing in other investors. तो मैं उनसे बात करता हूँ, समझता हूँ कि कैसे इंटरेक्शन जा रहे हैं. बोलते हैं यार वो ये वाली चीज नहीं समझते कि मैं एक बैंक अकाउंट खोलने के लिए अगर अटका हुआ हूँ तो वो कितना बड़ा पेन पॉइंट है आज. They do not understand that. उनमें वो अंडरस्टैंडिंग नहीं है because they're not a founder themselves, right? they've been sorted in their lives for quite some time, so maybe they've forgotten what it takes to be a very early founder. So from that perspective, it helps to be a founder angel investor because we know where to drive our point with the founder. That ये देख मुझे ये लग रहा है, I am sitting on the fence, I'm doing a lot of research, I'm reading a lot of research reports, I'm talking to a lot of other investors, VCs, micro VCs, the top guys in these VC funds, fund managers, स्टॉक ब्रोकर, सबसे बात कर रहे हैं हम लोग, तो हमें एक रिंग साइड व्यू अच्छा है. तो वहां तू मेरी सुन कि मार्केट में ये शायद चल सकता है. ग्राउंड्स अप कंज्यूमर क्या बोल रहा है, देयर आई विल नॉट गेट इन्वॉल्व, right? There I will trust you to have that ear on the ground. I am investing in a person, in a company, because I want them to run a business, right? मुझे कंट्रोल नहीं चाहिए उस बिजनेस में, मुझे ईगो सेटिस्फैक्शन मेरा सही है, मैं जो बोल रहा हूँ वो सही है, वो नहीं चाहिए. वैल्यू क्रिएट होना चाहिए मेरे होने की वजह से. दैट पर्सन शुड ऑल्सो क्रिएट वैल्यू, एंड उस पर्सन के होने से आई शुड ऑल्सो क्रिएट वैल्यू, एंड नॉट जस्ट मॉनेटरी वैल्यू. देयर शुड बी एन इमोशनल थिंग अटैच्ड टू इट ऑल्सो. अदरवाइज मॉनेटरी चाहिए तो मैं स्टॉक मार्केट में डालूंगा पैसा, मुझे कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है स्टॉक मार्केट में इन्वेस्ट करने को, उतना अल्फा क्रिएट हो जाएगा स्टॉक मार्केट से भी. देयर आर मोर देन एनफ अपॉर्चुनिटीज आउट देयर. सो I started off, number one, to give back, obviously, as a founder, and number two, I have always been that investor mentality, right? I started off that way. So it was a very normal transition for me to get into angel investing, to get into startup investing, to get into the fundraise process of startups, right? I was in love with stock market investing for 7-8 years, and now I'm in love with this space 3 to 4 years. So this is the newfound love maybe, but अभी हो गया 3-4 साल तो पुरानी हो गई. तो यहाँ पे what I love about it is the satisfaction that you get when a product that you have ideated with the founder, or maybe the founder has ideated and you've backed, reaches masses and gets a very good response from the masses, right? That helps you sleep better, to be honest, right? And I personally look at financially sustainable enterprises that will probably not be a billion-dollar company, but that would definitely generate a 5 to 7 to 10 crores profits over the next 5-7 years, right? So I look for that sweet spot. वो मेरा expertise वहां पर आता है कि भाई थोड़ा टेक्नोलॉजी है इसमें, B2C का ज्ञान है, थोड़ा सा कंज्यूमर फेसिंग प्रोडक्ट बना रहा है कोई, एंड वो प्रॉफिटेबल होगा, एंड वो प्रॉफिटेबल 12-15 साल बाद कैश बर्न करके नहीं होगा, वो यूनिकॉर्न पहले नहीं बनेगा, वो प्रॉफिटेबल पहले बनेगा, right? So that is where I play. I understand every founder wants to be a unicorn founder. I honestly don't want to be a unicorn founder. I would rather build a 100 crore profit wala business than become a unicorn. And I want to back entrepreneurs who also have that thought process, because that is much more sustainable for them also on an emotional front. I know founders who cannot take a decision कि यार वॉशरूम में अब नए फिटिंग्स लगवानी है without getting their board approval. वो बोर्ड मीटिंग में बैठ के बाथरूम फिटिंग्स अप्रूव करवा रहे हैं बैठ के, और फोन पर हो रहा है यार शांतनु लाइफ फक हो गया. तो I don't want that for my entrepreneurs or for myself also. There are no doubt there are very good VCs out there who support founders, who back founders. There is Y Combinator and all of these people, but there are also bad eggs out there, bad apples out there that will just make your life crazy. So if you are an employee mindset founder, राइट, कि आप बहुत एम्प्लॉय माइंडसेट हो, आपको चाहिए कि कोई डायरेक्शन दे, आपके जो आइडियाज है वो दब जाए तो भी आपको प्रॉब्लम नहीं है उतनी, आप किसी और के आइडिया पे भी काम कर सकते हो उतने ही पैशन से, विच इज अ गुड ट्रेड टू हैव. यू शुड गो फॉर दैट VC वाला रूट एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट. इफ यू आर मच स्ट्रॉन्गर हेडेड इन्वेस्टर फाउंडर वाले कैटेगरी में आते हो, इट्स मच बेटर टू बिल्ड अ प्रॉफिटेबल business that can sustain and start using those profits to reinvest either in your own business or in other people's businesses, right? तो वो मेरा thought process रहता है जब भी मैं entrepreneurs को evaluate करता रहता हूँ. The sectors that I focus on is agri-tech, number 1, number 2 fintech, and number 3 D2C. D2C में भी food and beverages में is where I focus. मैं sector agnostic जानता हूँ, बहुत सारे angel network होते हैं, ये सारे होते हैं, मुझे नहीं समझ में आता है sector agnostic कैसे होते हैं लोग. Maybe they are very very intelligent people, but if you bring a pharma proposition to me, it will take me almost 2 to 3 months just to evaluate that deal, whether it makes sense or not. भेड़ चाल में कर लिया तो चलो कर सकते हैं, but if I genuinely want to understand how it will work, it will take me at least 2 to 3 months. So it's just easier for me to understand fintech, to understand D2C food and beverages, and to understand agri-tech. I have traveled 8,000 kilometers across India just to get more sense about the space. तो वहां मैंने इन्वेस्टमेंट किया, तो मैं उसी पे फोकस करता हूँ आराम से. And even when I get my friends to invest or something like that, it is only in these spaces. इसके बाहर हम लोग नहीं दिमाग लगाते. And I think a lot of value can be created. These are some of the biggest sectors, right, that are coming up. Space tech, I'm getting very interested. I started digging deep. I've been reading up about it over the last 2 months. I have a lot of meetings scheduled for that also next 4 to 5 months. Mein, I'll go very deep into space tech. But these 4 sectors के बाहर I don't want to work a lot. ये काफी है मेरे लिए, मुझे इतना ही समझ में आता है. तो मुझे उसी कोर कॉम्पिटेंसी में काम करना, उससे ज्यादा करना नहीं.
That sounds cool. And what's your point view on winters? Like there's this term called like funding winters that are coming. Like what's your viewpoint over it?
मैं आपको एक proposition देता हूँ अभी, right? That you get to invest in a company that can deploy 1 crore. It will take from you. It can deploy, generate 10 crores of revenue and 3 crores of profit out of that 1 crore that they've taken within 1 year. And I'm guaranteeing this. Right? Like on paper, I'm guaranteeing this. Otherwise, I'll return the money back to you, 1 crore, your principal amount. Whether will you invest or not?
Yeah, I'll do definitely.
काहे का winter? You will find money, 1 crore rupees. नहीं होगा ना पॉकेट में. You will find money. कि यार कहाँ से मैं पैसे जुगाड़ूं इस इंसान को दूं. There is no winter, right? It is a myth. Yes, the buzzword है. But it has some truth in it, obviously. Right? Every fire will have, every धुआं will have a fire. Correct? So, इसमें truth ये है that there was a lot of money that got printed in US, right, and across the world also, which found its way into the financial markets because that's the easiest way to put your money, incremental money, especially for wealth managers. And because it found its way to financial markets, stock markets एक point तक गए, फ्रीज आउट हो गए, क्रिप्टोज एक पॉइंट तक गए, बहुत तेज बूम किए, फिर जोन आउट हो गए, आई मीन पीक आउट कर गए, सैचुरेट हो गए, एंड स्टार्टअप्स भी. तो सारे एसेट क्लासेस हैव grown exponentially after the pandemic, right? And startup space was none other, right? It also grew exponentially. Especially in India, it just blasted off, right? Because अपना UPI का बढ़ा, अपना Jio आया, so all of those things had happened already. And we had that whole demonetization thing that made people very accustomed to digital transactions, very easy to do digital transactions. It made it very easier. So with that hindsight, we were positioned to raise a lot of capital already. It just fast tracked the process, and what would have happened over 2 to 3 years happened very quickly. So we were looking at like unicorns coming every 2-3 days. That has never happened, right? Now it is getting to normalcy. कि भाई जो नॉर्मल रेट ऑफ ग्रोथ था उस पे चले गए, बंद नहीं हुए. यू विल स्टिल हैव, इफ द राइट बिजनेस कम्स अक्रॉस, नो इन्वेस्टर इज गोइंग टू से नो टू दैट प्रोपोजिशन. यूएस का पैसा ऑब्वियसली वापस गया है बिकॉज दे हैव रेज्ड देयर इंटरेस्ट रेट्स. तो एज अ रिस्क, if the audience understands risk and reward, for the same amount of risk, they are getting a higher reward when they put their money in treasury bonds. So obviously money will flow out, and the first place that it flows out is the riskiest asset. तो क्रिप्टोज में से सबसे पहले पैसा गया. सेकंड रिस्कियर एसेट वाज स्टार्टअप्स प्रोबेबली, तो उसमें से पैसा निकाला. एंड रियल एस्टेट से भी थोड़ा बहुत जा रहा है, थोड़ा लेसर, थोड़ा सेफर होता है, वो धीरे जाता है वहां से पैसा. तो if you just understand the movement of money at a macro level, right, it will be easy for you to digest, and you will understand that कोई विंटर नहीं है, इंटरेस्ट रेट लोअर होंगे, पैसा वापस आता है. It's just how that moves, right? Abhi, how it benefits people who are propagating this is, and I am one of them also, right? कि भाई आया है winter, क्योंकि बहुत सारे startups को वो valuations नहीं मिलेंगे जो मिल रहे हैं. People were going out there and without revenues demanding a 30 crore valuation, and I would just smile like you were smiling, and I would be like, yeah, 30 crores. Yes, no, doing very good job, creating a lot of value. Yeah, absolutely. I cannot invest in this. So sorry. Yeah, it's a bit pricey for me, and I honestly don't understand the space that well. So क्या करें यार, अब ठीक है, हमारा लॉस है, आप तो कुछ अच्छा कर लोगे. एंड बैक एंड पे रजत ऐसे बैठ जाते हैं, हमारा जो ड्यू डिलिजेंस करता है वो ऐसे बैठ जाते हैं, यार फिर से 31 करोड़ वाला आ गया.
I interacted with a founder a couple of days back. He just had an MVP and the valuation was 50 CR plus.
And then they show valuation report also. यार ये देख, मैंने valuation report बनाया, मैंने बोला जिस चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट से बनवाया या वैल्यूअर से बनवाया, रिफंड मांग।
उसने क्यों बनाया पहले?
Yeah, so I was saying I change this small assumption and I'll make it 100 crore valuation for you. But बिकना चाहिए ना मार्केट में, बस ऐसे कुछ भी थोड़ी होता है, सब्जी मंडी नहीं है ना. तो now we are getting much more practical valuations from practical founders. And now वो जो सिर्फ हवा में आए थे ना एक entrepreneur class कि फंडिंग जल्दी जल्दी उठ रहा है, कुछ कुछ बना के आगे चिपका देंगे, वो क्लास निकल रहा है. Dedicated serious people who wanted to be in the game are staying in the game. And I honestly know competition. Some of our own competitors that came up raised 18 crores. Gone. Zero. So, वहां से मुझे ये भी समझ में आता है कि यार सिर्फ पैसा उठा लेना बड़ी टीम बनाने से बिजनेस नहीं बनेगा. You have to do right by the consumer, right by the user. And we are seeing those startups now come up. And I'm damn sure the people who will survive these 2-3 years will be the ones who will dominate the peak. तो आप स्मॉल केस का भी अगर एग्जांपल लोगे ना, जेरोधा का एग्जांपल लोगे, दे सर्वाइव्ड downturns, they survived bear markets. That's why they became what they are in the bull markets, right? So you have to study these companies to understand. हम लोग तो करते रहते, काफी कवर भी करते रहते, तो हेल्प हो जाता है यूजर्स को. बट या वंस यू अंडरस्टैंड दिस गेम इट बिकम्स, तो हमारे लिए तो अच्छा है यार, ये विंटर आए तो बेटर है, थोड़ा सा ठंडा होगा, वैल्यूएशन विंटर आना चाहिए, फंडिंग विंटर नहीं है, वैल्यूएशन विंटर जरूर हो सकती है. And you'll get logical valuation still for your startup, but irrational exuberance जिसको बोलते हैं, that has been removed from the market. Absolutely.
That's true. And even now the investors who are in a rush would be like stock market में जिन्हें traders कहा जाता है, they would not be there क्योंकि private equity is a game of patience, I would say.
Private equity is a game of patience. Entrepreneurship is a game of patience because, right? So if you've betted on an entrepreneur, on a good entrepreneur, and you know that वो बनाएगा कुछ ना कुछ, but next 10 साल में बनाएगा, उसकी कंपनी भी उसी के हिसाब से वैसे ही ग्रो करेगी, right? So it is a 10-year long journey easily. And you're not investing in a business when you're doing early stage investments. You're investing in a person and a team, right? It's never about what they're building right now, but it is about what they will build over the next 3, 4, 5 years and how they will do it. Right. So early stage investments बहुत अलग होता है, equity investment बहुत अलग होता है, VC investments at late stage बहुत अलग होता है. Psychology perspective से people fail to understand that. They think financial model से ही decide कर लेते हैं, ऐसे नहीं हो सकता.
Exactly. So इन सब के बारे में किसी और पॉडकास्ट में बात करेंगे, but for now we will end this podcast. And it was just amazing to have a conversation with you. I learned a lot of things, even the audience did. Your journey from CA to entrepreneur, now as an investor, and along with building Readon was just amazing. And there were really great insights that I took. Now the audience must have taken those. And if not, I would say just start again and just start the podcast and listen to it carefully. So yeah, so it was great having you on the podcast, sir.
Absolutely, yaar. I loved it. Great questions. And yeah, I just love interacting with folks like you, young folks like you, creating stuff, interesting stuff. Acha, yaar, all the best for that. And guys, like, subscribe to his channel, and wherever he's posting, just make sure that you're promoting a lot of entrepreneurs also. Yeah, that's the smallest thing that you can do for an entrepreneur. कि उसको आप बिल्कुल प्योर हार्ट से एक पुश दो, अपने साथ शेयर करो अपने लोगों के साथ. एंड आई कीप टेलिंग पीपल, यार ये छोटा सी चीज तो कर देना चाहिए एंटरप्रेन्योर के लिए, कि आप उसके काम को बस शेयर कर दो, आप मत खरीदो उसका प्रोडक्ट, बट उसके काम को शेयर करते रहो लोगों के साथ. सो ऑल द बेस्ट मैन, ऑल द बेस्ट फॉर दैट. आई होप यू क्रिएट great value for your users.
Thank you, sir. It was a pleasure having you.
Absolutely.